Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Yitz Epstein. I am a narcissistic abuse life coach, and today I will be discussing dealing with resentments and regret after abuse. Both regret and resentment are common experiences after abuse. Each of these, if not dealt properly, has the potential to drag one's mental, emotional, and spiritual state into chaos. Both of these emotional states are usually towards the abuser, towards one's past, but lesser known are the resentments and regrets that a person has towards himself. Regrets include regrets about one's past poor relationship choices, life choices, and self-destructive tendencies. Resentment is a bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. It is essentially living in the past, which creates a sort of bondage towards the abuser and towards past experiences. It stubbornly waits for the abuser to come and fix the damage done and holds on to the idea that the abuser needs to come and make it right and correct what was done to them. Sadly, this never happens, and the individual ends up holding on to negative experiences, negative emotion, which leads to unfulfillment, unhappiness, and a victim consciousness. Each of these experiences causes a person to stay stuck in the past, regurgitating past experiences and negative emotions in their head. Resentment, which like the word itself implies, is re-sentiment, which is a sort of re-experiencing of past negative emotional experiences, the negative emotion again and again, a sort of a negative feedback loop where there is a thought, a reminder, a memory of the experience, then the negative emotion, and if this happens continuously, it creates a negative downward spiral. Regret essentially is saying that what happened in the past should not have happened that way or should not have happened at all. This statement is fundamentally fighting with reality, and the reality of the situation is that it did happen. Trying to fight with reality and trying to change things that cannot be changed will lead to frustration, anxiety, anger, and inner bitterness. Regret is an egoic defense. The ego has a hard time accepting the fact that in the past they were helpless to the abuser and to the abuse that occurred. In an attempt to get some semblance of control over the past, it will reframe it, deny it, stuff it down, disconnect from the experiences entirely, or play the victim and blame others for what occurred to them. By regretting, the ego can defend against the experiences by claiming that it was something that they could have protected themselves from but didn't, hence the deep shame of regret. Regret is very natural after abuse. However, it is extremely unproductive. It wastes a lot of time and energy and keeps you in an unhealed state, and therefore it's important to identify regrets, resentments of the past, so that you can ultimately heal and move on. Without doing the work, without facing regrets, without facing the past, you cannot move on, and ultimately you're going to stay in an unhealed state. Dealing with regret takes great courage, humility, and strength. It is a crumbling of the ego and the defensive stance of self-righteousness and letting go into the unknown, something the ego has a very difficult time doing. It requires a non-reactive, non-emotional, objective view of the past and realization that in fact they were helpless in childhood with the inability to protect themselves from the past abuse. The choices that were made for them and that they made themselves that led to present day chaos were not their fault. This individual in a sense was set up for failure because of what was done to them, and therefore it's important to not blame yourself, not to regret the past, but rather learn from the experiences and shift into the future focused thinking, which is about becoming healthy so that you can live the life that you deserve. It requires forgiveness towards oneself and compassion towards the inner child who did the best they could to survive with the things that they had and with the abilities they had at the time. Dealing with resentment is similar. It entails processing negative emotions that come up, not stuffing them down, not denying them, and then understanding the self-talk, the sort of story told about the abuse within one's mind, challenging that story and reframing the situation. By sitting with the negative emotions, the individual will be able to process the negative feelings, break up that negative feedback loop, stop regurgitating those negative emotions that are bringing a person into chaos. Another important element of healing from past regrets and resentments is realizing that there was a purpose to your pain. This takes extreme faith and the realization that it was not for nothing because of past experiences, because of the abuse, and because of your ability to overcome it and become a stronger version of yourself. You now are a much stronger and healthier version of yourself. You learned so much from the experiences, and you can use those life lessons to build a healthier future. So creating meaning out of it and understanding that it was not something that was random, but rather experiences to be learned from so that you can become a healthy, strong individual will do wonders when it comes to creating the perspective and the mindset to allow you to see it for what it is, experiences, and that were not personal, but rather experiences that made you stronger as a result. If you are struggling to overcome past abuse, if you've been a victim of narcissistic abuse, you find yourself stuck in the past, regurgitating the experiences, trying to figure out another way, trying to figure out a way where you could have prevented it, please understand, like I said before, it was not your fault. This is not necessarily an easy journey to do alone. So if you're struggling and need some assistance, I offer coaching for those who are struggling to overcome past abuse. Please see my contact information below and reach out. I offer a free 15-minute consultation. I'd love to discuss how I can assist you and help you heal on your healing journey. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so for future updates on content that I post. Feel free to share this video with anyone who you find might benefit from it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, all the best.